Now, what I'd like to start by saying is thank you for being here. I really appreciate the fact that you are taking out 60 minutes for yourself. This is going to be a session that's going to be delivering 5-point core values of opportunities for you to change and implement what you're trying to achieve for 2019. So, right now, I don't know everything about you clearly, but I will ask certain things of you, and that is that if you are on this call and if you are actually wanting to make a difference, I need you to make a promise to yourself and to someone else that is your accountability partner that you are going to actually see this through, because so much of the work that we do becomes shelf development, and I don't want this to be one of these feel good, had a good time, kind of learn something sessions. I want this to be a session where you see me, you know, in, say 6-12 months, and you say, hey, Dr. Espen, remember that session you did? I set some goals, I created a vision board, I deliberately set it so I could raise my consciousness and contribute more and be more and live more and love more and learn more, and it changed my life. But I must say, that doesn't happen unless you actually take action. The difference between living a life of quiet desperation and a life of abundance and fulfillment is taking action. So please promise me right now, place your hand on your heart, promise me right now, you are going to apply just one of the things that you learned today, just apply it. And I guarantee you, just feel that in your heart for a minute. If you actually do this work, your life will change. This is what I do with my VIP coaching clients every single year, and it blows everything up. So thank you from me to you. Love you very much. Let's get to work. Okay, so I don't know exactly what it is that you want to achieve for next year, but what I will tell you is this. If you do this work and actually apply what's possible, your life will change. And it will be difficult because growth happens outside of the comfort zone, okay? So be open to new ideas. Feel what we are about to experience together and apply regularly. Basically, we're going to tap into the soul. We're going to download what we believe is our vision, mission, and purpose and what's holding us back. And then we're going to start to build in the 168 hours that we have every single week by giving us an opportunity to make little steps at a time, little stepping stones to greatness that becomes this weekly calendar of yours to reach a big goal. A quick story before we begin. I always say, how can you expect the universe, and you might want to take notes as we go through this, guys, if something feels right, if you have a little aha experience or something that you feel is worth noting, please write it down right away. What we write down and read later, we might actually remember. I had a little quite an interesting experience for 2017's vision board. So what happens, and I'll take you through this in detail, but there are 8 areas of life, and we are going to find out first what those 8 areas are, and after that we're going to be setting specific congruent goals in each of the 8 areas of life, not just for spiritual fulfillment and mindset and health, but also for business and the other family stuff that's just as sometimes even not more important. We are going to set goals congruently to raising our level of consciousness. We're going to be using the model that I've created called Ascending Awareness, which is a modified model of Dr. Claire Graves' spiral dynamics. And again, raising our consciousness, and also not just that, but as my dear friend Adam, which is here today, hanging out in the background here, doing some IT work for us, my man, as he said as well, when I get threatened and fear sends me nervous and pushes me outside and I respond emotionally, where do I drop to? And how do I raise my level of consciousness so I can live and love and, like I said, learn more? Then I'm going to come with a specific set of questions for you, and then we're going to wrap it all up so you can actually start to have a plan. And as I said, how can you expect the universe to give you what you want if you do not ask specifically? We are going to ask very specifically. We are going to base it on your highest value, and we're also going to base it on contribution. So by the time you, one day, my friend, you'll be on your deathbed, and if you look back, and if you feel in your heart and ask yourself the question, I'll do everything I could with everything I had. I want you to be able to fully say, yes, I lived my life to the fullest. I surrendered when I needed to. I grinded when I needed to. I lived with an open heart and had a great time, and maybe even potentially made this world a little bit of a better place than when you came into it. So let's get started. The first topic for today is manifesting from the quantum. Okay. I will, as I go through this, I will be sharing my screen with you from time to time. So I'll bring up a topic. Then I'll talk on the topic, then I'll share my screen with you while you do your exercises, okay? While you do your exercises, I'll be muting myself. You'll have approximately 3 to 5 minutes to just put some notes down. I fully understand that this vision board will not be done in the 60 minutes because of the amount of topic and understanding and reconditioning that takes place, but you can watch it later, and later I want you to complete it. So for now, just a couple of words in each of the 5, and then come back and fine tune. And let me tell you, just like the wheel of life, just like your health goals and all the other things, you want to reassess and recondition and reapply every 3 months. The first topic for today is manifesting from the quantum. Once Dr. John DeMartini, a dear friend and coach of mine, said it doesn't take any more energy thinking big as it is thinking small. In fact, when you think small, you end up procrastinating, hesitating, frustrating, desperating, and struggling internally because you're not, one, living a life that's congruent to what you're truly passionate about, and 2, most likely you have set small goals. And if you set small goals, you don't really feel the same invigoration and fulfillment. So the essence of why I'm mentioning this, if you guys need anything, just interrupt me at any time. Yeah? If you guys recognize now that you are not a human, you're not just a human. You're not living a 3D experience. You're actually a soul living a human experience and not the other way around. Okay, so let me clarify. You have a physical body, you have a brain, you have a mind, and so on and so forth. But there is a spirit that lives within you. That's why you are the soul and not just the conditioning that comes with it. If we understand the law of divine consciousness, understanding that we are more, that there's a spirit inside us, great word, then what we can understand is that we need to set goals based on our soul. Okay, so let me say that again. Sometimes on a lower level of consciousness, we can set goals that are quite ego-driven, okay? The short-term stimulus instead of the long-term gratification. So today I want you to set goals in whatever is your highest value, which we'll get to in a moment, but also consciously understanding, setting goals based on what your soul wants. I did a live last week, and I said nothing of the senses will ever satisfy the soul. And that's what I want you to keep in mind when you're doing this, because you are the soul. And if you recognize that you are a soul from the quantum field, the unified field of consciousness, then there's nothing you cannot achieve. I am not the best, and I certainly will try my fairest to explain and do some level of justice to quickly explaining quantum mechanics and quantum physics for you. I'm far from an expert, and the moment you know it, it's changed again. But what I will tell you is, if you are a spirit, if you are a soul, the state of unconditional love, then let's set goals based on the quantum field. Let's set goals based on this beautiful spirit that we have inside of us. And when we do that, we can bypass the 3-dimensional world of the senses, okay? The 3-dimensional world of this human physiology based on Newton's law, if you will. And we can bypass the 4th dimension, which is the dimension of time. I'm sure you've done something in your life that made both time and space completely dissolve and left you present in the moment with an open heart. That is truly a reflection of what you're on this earth to do. So if you bypass the 3rd dimension of the senses, and you bypass the 4th dimension of time, you get into the 5th and above dimension, you are accessing, my friend, the quantum field, the unified field. And that is the unified field that is that 99.9999999% of everything that a cell is made up of. That is why you are not the drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean in a single drop. I'm not going to go into it too much, but I want you to feel inside your body, if you believe that there's a spirit inside you, if you believe that there's a God, the greater organized design, if you believe that there's consciousness, the universal energy, innate intelligence, call it whatever you like. But if you believe that there is something a little bit more, if you believe, listen, that there's something a little bit more than just this life for now, then I want you to set goals congruently to that belief. Then I want you to set goals like you are a spirit, and in the quantum, there's, like Deepak Chopra says, infinite potentiality. There's absolutely no limitations to what you can achieve. So leave your ego behind. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Leave those behind. Tap into the quantum. Set goals that are aligned with your heart's and soul's expression. And let's reverse engineer the process back to our stepping stones to greatness. Here we go. That is the first topic of the quantum. And I really wanted to touch on that because most people start setting goals as in, I want to lose this weight and I want to make this money, as in, I want. I once heard a story that said a man goes to the Buddha and the Buddha says, hi, what can I do for you? And the man says, I want to be free. And the Buddha says, well, first remove the I, for that is the ego, and then remove the want, for that is the desire, and all you're left with is freedom. So what I want you to understand is when you're setting these goals in the quantum, I want you to remove the ego as much as you can, because nothing of the senses will ever satisfy the soul. Okay, topic number 1. And you've got the feeling for this already. I think you're kind of picking up what I'm putting down here. The next thing that I'd like to discuss with you is what's called the core value systems. Each person has an individual set of values. My values are completely unique to me. I might have some similarities with someone else, but every person's value system is completely unique. You can have someone that's really passionate about horseback riding. You can have someone else that's really passionate about accounting and finance, and someone else that's just really, really passionate about cleaning, let's say, being a household cleaner. We all have a place in this universe. The cell and the universe, there's nothing more or less important because we are one. And that's really when you raise your awareness to unconditional love, you understand there is no separation. We are all the same. When you come back to the core values, though, it's a little bit different, because when we are born into this world with the soul contract, we are born with a set of values, and they also change and adapt as we advance our level of conscious awareness and also as we go through life. Let me say this. If you do not know what your highest values are, then I must say, get to freaking work right now. Because one of the keys to suffering is living a life of not knowing your values. In fact, Bronnie Ware was a palliative nurse. She saw thousands of people on their deathbed. She was an Australian nurse, and she wrote a book called The 5 Common Regrets of the Dying. And the number one, and if we're setting goals, would it be fair to say, if we're here today to set goals, would it be fair to say that we could learn from thousands of people on their deathbed what not to do? Would that be fair? So Bronnie Ware wrote a book called The 5 Common Regrets of the Dying. And what she said was this: the most common regret of the dying is this: I wish I had the courage to live a life true to me and not the life that other people expected of me. So many of us subordinate to other people's value systems, trying to make them happy. What happens is that you get a void inside your heart with the universe giving you symptoms to try and come back to your purpose, yes? So living a life aligned with your values is your purpose. Now, when I teach my program, Business Success Automation, and you extract what you're here to do with your highest value and your soul contract, and you create conscious enterprise based on that, you cannot fail, because you're not being motivated and needing a push. You're actually being pulled by the universe because you're aligned with it. Does that make sense? So you have to know your 3 top values, and listen, your life needs to be congruent to those values. If not, the symptoms will be more and more a feeling of separation. If you don't know what your values are, you can jump on www.drespen.com, and if you opt in there, you'll receive some emails and you can choose your topics of what to learn from personal development or health or wellness, whatever you want to learn. You'll receive a series of emails, but after you've opted in, you can download my books. You can also download what's called the Values Booklet, okay? Just drespen.com, download the Values Booklet, and then you can actually print it out and sit down and complete all the exercises that helps you illuminate more of what your values are. And like Henry David Thoreau, one of my favorite poets, said, the unexamined life is not worth living, because you're not really living if you're not doing what you're passionate about. And you know what? At the end of the day, if you're knackered, you're probably not doing something that makes your light shine, okay? So just feel that in your body. We are going to set goals congruent to the quantum field. We're going to set goals congruent with our highest value. So don't start setting goals until you know, understand quantum and know your highest value. The third part we're going to go through is understanding the wheel of life. Okay. When you look at the wheel of life, there are effectively 8 areas of life. And most people are living a life that is unexamined. Okay? And if you're living a life that's unexamined, what very often happens, just waiting for a second, our internet drops in and out. Put your hand up if we stop. So if we're living a life that's unexamined, we cannot set specific goals. Where people say, I want to increase my health, I want to increase my business, or I want to open up my heart and reduce my stress levels. But my question to them is, that is subjective. Where were you on a scale from 1 to 10 in the area of, say, stress? Right? And so maybe they'll say 2, maybe they'll say 10. But if we don't measure objectively, how will we know if anything's changing? One of the things that I did for my vision board for 2017, I was teaching 7 areas of life at the time. I didn't have time, as the 168 hours that we have available to us every single week, I did not have that in the wheel, but I decided that since time is such a limited resource, that we needed to become more conscious of how we spend our time, hence why it's now on the wheel. But in 2007, I had 7 areas of life, and I set 2 goals in each of the 7 areas, and 1 big, hairy, audacious goal, which was to, with no Ninja Warrior experience, be able to hit the buzzer and get to the finals. And I did. I was, managed to get to national TV and hit the buzzer and make my dream come true in 18 months of training with no prior training. So I'm not saying that to impress you, but to impress upon you that when you set big, hairy, audacious goals and you have a plan, a conscious awareness and the mental fortitude and the regular meditation, mindset and present time conscious practice to do so, you can achieve anything you want. So that is just an example from my 2007 vision board that came true. Then it was falling in love, all these wonderful things, and they are coming true. So what's happened to me in 2007, 2018 is not done yet, so the vision board is not complete. But what happened in 2007 was that I hit 11 out of my 15 goals, okay? And that's because I specifically asked the universe for it, and I went for it with not less attachment to the outcome, but more a curious quest of becoming more aware and becoming conscious and stepping into my greatness. There are 8 areas of life. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you, and I'll just pull up the Wheel of Life, and I would like you to quickly just do a screenshot of this, okay? You can also find this on my website, but I'd like you to do a screenshot of this. It'll be popping up in a moment. There we go. Give me a little thumbs up if you can see this. You guys can see it? Okay, cool. So please do a screenshot of this. This quickly helps you see the 8 areas of life. I'll zoom in a little bit more for you. Might make it a little bit easier to see. Now that is the Wheel of Life. Now what I'd like to show you, if you can see my mouse in the middle here, the very middle of this wheel, my friend, is 0%. Okay, the very outer margin is 100%. So if I take this piece of the pie here called career, vocation, and purpose and rate myself from 1 to 10, let's say that I rate myself at 25% fulfillment, then I will draw a line here. Okay, I will draw a line right here. And then I go to the next one, relationships. Maybe I consider myself a 5 out of 10. Okay, well then I'll draw a line here. And so on and so forth for each of the 8 areas of life. Now, guess what? When you draw this up and you connect these pieces of the puzzle together, what do you get? Well, you get your Wheel of Life. And if you place that Wheel of Life on your car and you go driving down the road, how do you think that sucker's going to be handling? A bit Humpty Dumpty for most of us. So what happens is that we get into the year and we just try to hit our goals and we're trying to do these things that we want to think that we want, and we really grow in business and finance. That's what I did back in the days when we had 8 multidisciplinary health and wellness clinics. I just worked my ass off, man. I was living in my head the majority of the time, and I was grinding in business. So business and vocation and finance was great, but I had no relationships. My spiritual fulfillment was not nearly as much as it is now. And my mind and emotional state was not nearly as expanded and conscious and aware as I believe that I'm at least becoming now. So that means that my wheel is completely out of life. So my mission in this world is to help people help more people. And that begins with us looking inwards and firstly recognizing where the hell we are. So once you've done this exercise and you've rated yourself, I hope you've done a screenshot of this, then please fill it out, print it out, fill it out. And then you have an opportunity to literally draw the wheel together and see where you are. The next thing then to do is to set goals in each of these areas of life. Because don't we want to grow? It's not just the science of achievement, but it's also the art of fulfillment. And so if you look at this now and recognize that we don't just want to create and build and make things. We want to be happy, be present, be love, and so on and so forth. So I'll say it again. It's not just the science of achievement, but also the art of fulfillment. And fulfillment is filling full the mind and filling full the heart. And what happens now is that you're feeling fuller, your wheel is increasing, not just in certain areas, but in the overall balance of your whole life. And that's what I call life mastery. And that's why I look into this every 3 months. I set new goals and I change things up a little bit. So have a look at that wheel, ladies and gentlemen. Do a screenshot now, last chance, and then fill it out and be completely honest with yourself. This is what I do for my coaching clients. Before we accept them as clients, when they apply to become a one-on-one client, they all fill out a set of questions that specifically push them and trigger them to really find out what's holding them back and where they are in each of the 8 areas of life. And then we create a strategy around how to get there and how to make a difference. All right, let's move on. If you have any questions, you guys, you can feel free to drop us a message. We're also live on Facebook now. So drop us a question in the Facebook thread after this, and we'll be able to get back to you later. So 8 areas of life. Once you know your quantum understanding, your belief that you're more than flesh and bone, your understanding of your highest core values, your understanding of the wheel of life, because I don't just want you to set goals with your finance and your health and with something else. I want you to set goals in all the 8 areas, because if you are the unified field of consciousness, then you don't have to have any limitations. I'm doing an event coming up next Sunday, the 25th, called Transcending Limitations, so that I can get you out of the way so you can step into actually being you, tapping into that greatness within. Because the thing that's holding us back is ourselves, right? That's how it always is. So once you know the 8 areas of life, you set goals. And may I suggest setting 2 goals? We'll just wait for the microphone to come back on. Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Just put your hand up there. Let me know. Okay, so we're back. We have a little bit of unstable line, so I'm just making sure that we capture this and we don't lose that. Once you know the 8 areas of life, I would suggest setting 2 goals in each of the 8 areas of life. Okay, so 2 in finance, 2 in time, 2 in relationship. Now, how do you set goals in time? Well, obviously, it has to do with the fact how you spend your time. You and Richard Branson have both 168 hours of the week. He runs 200 companies, and I don't run that many, and so on and so forth. So I'm not saying that you're going to get more time. I'm saying you've got to be more conscious and learn how to automate, celebrate, and delegate things to other people so that you can do what you're passionate about. In the coaching, I also teach something called the fast track formula, which this might be quite handy for you. Once you've actually done the vision board and you've created a calendar for yourself, I take you through a formula called the fast track formula, which enables you to ask the question, how many hours of the 168 am I living according to my highest value? Okay, doing what I'm passionate about. That's Parkinson's law. Then you have Ricardo's law, as in what can I delegate now? The things that are making me frustrated, that I'm not passionate about, or the things that are costing me time, but I could be working and making more money, what can I delegate? And then also there is the understanding of 80-20. What's the 20% of the things that you do that give you 80% of the results? Listen, of the goals that you set, of the habits that you have, of the things that you do, of the business that you're in, of the life that you live, of the habits, of everything that you do, 20% is going to give you 80% of the results. So 20% of your time, energy, and finance is going to give you an 80% return on investment. So what that means is that 20% of your clients will take up 80% of your time, and 80% of your clients will take up 20% of your time. 20% of your clients will pay you 80% of your income, and 80% of your income, and so on and so forth. What you've got to get now, and the reason why I'm mentioning the Pareto Principle over and over again is because it is a mathematical law. What that means is that 20% of the actions that you'll be taking is going to give you 80% of the results when it comes to living the life. Because this is not about setting a vision board. This is about setting a vision board and then transforming your life using the vision board as the accountability and intention necessary to do what you're trying to achieve. So 20% of the actions in what you decide to do is going to give you 80% of the results. And I want you to be really conscious of what the 20% are, because otherwise you're wasting time, energy, and finance, and they are limited resources for most of us, and we cannot waste any more of it. But you don't have to grind, and you don't have to stress. Believe me, I did that for a long time. You don't have to do that anymore, because you are a child of the divine. You are the soul. You are the quantum. And in the quantum, when you bypass time and space, you can access anything. So don't worry too much about that, but know that you need to ask those questions. What 20% of the things that I do give me 80% of the results, and vice versa? And perhaps we are the product of the 5 people that we spend most of our time with. That includes family and friends and colleagues. And so perhaps ask yourself the question, which 20% of my peers, which 20% of my colleagues, which 20% of my friends take up 80% of my time and do not deliver the same in return in terms of, fair exchange, feeling, supporting, loving, taken care of. You've got to be really conscious of the people that you spend your energy with. Fill your life with people that have similar values or that inspire you, and make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people that are like, I don't know where you are, and I don't know where you want to go, and I don't know what you want to achieve. So I'm not going to say surround yourself with conscious, loving people, even though that is probably a really good idea. But what I will say is, whatever you feel in your heart that you really want to achieve in your life, hang out with people that has successfully done that. Okay, my goal, my mission, vision, and purpose is to keep expanding in the 8 areas of life, every time pushing myself, growing, learning, doing all these things so that I can live a fulfilled life. So I want to surround myself with people that do that. That's what my mentors do as well. Are we going for time? We're doing good for time. It's now 7 o'clock. We are almost halfway there. Okay, guys. So that was the Wheel of Life. What are you laughing at? I'm half drunk on kombucha. Kombucha. That's amazing, isn't it? Good for the gut. Okay, so now the next topic is what's called ascending awareness. Just recap on what we've done so far. I've asked you to understand that you are a soul and not just flesh and blood. I've asked you to understand your core values. I've asked you to understand the 8 areas of life. I've talked a little bit about philosophy and in the understanding of why we're actually setting a vision board. And I want you to do this with your spouse. You have to have an accountability partner. Rebecca and I sit down and look at this regularly and go, am I taking the necessary actions towards, becoming more spiritually aware? Am I meditating twice a day? Am I doing these things? And I'll tell you what, most people are like, it's too hard to do. When you get up in the morning and you wash and cleanse your body and brush your teeth, so you take care of your outside physical, but you don't even take care of your mental state. Your body has become the unconscious mind. If you want to break habits and create a life, the life of your dreams, you need to be committed, and you need to have a big why. And when the why is big enough, the how takes care of itself. I think, and this brings me to topic number 4, and after topic 5, I'll be helping you create your vision board. Okay, so stay with me. Topic number 4 is what I call ascending awareness. And I won't be taking a time today to guide you through the chakras. So there are 7 chakras in the human body. There's also 5 chakras above that, chakras 5 to 12, ascending to the heavens. And the one above chakra, which is 7, which is your crown chakra, is your soul star chakra. So I won't be going too much into the energy centers and that. We do that in the coaching. We have a group coaching program where a lot of the people are on here today. We meet every single Thursday, this exact time. We do this exact same thing, but every time we do something different. So we might set health goals. We might do a detox together. We can go through, at the moment, we're going through and planning, obviously, the vision board. Another session will be actually sitting down and creating accountability around learning to live a life to ascend your awareness. And there's business and there's all sorts of things. It's a community of inspired people that are coming together every single week to push ourselves to be all that we can be. So we'll send you some information on that later. It's $3.23 a day to be on this every single week and to have an accountability coach that'll push you and help you see the bullshit fear that you think is real. So often when our emotions cloud reason, we think that shit is real. This is not real. I mean, this is not even real. In the quantum, this is one projection of many realities, so it's not even real. However, it feels very real, doesn't it? So let me help you feel a bit better and live out a life full of love. Ascending awareness is a really interesting topic. This started with a thing called spiral dynamics, inspired by Dr. Claire Graves. Okay, I have changed the colors to match the colors of the chakra because it is very interesting how there is 8 areas of life, 8 levels of consciousness and 8 corresponding chakras. When you do the work, and if you come to my events next year called Quantum Living, I will share with you how this all works and how you level up just by understanding these concepts and setting some cool goals. It's a pretty funky little thing coming. There are 8 levels of consciousness. I will not go in through all of them. You will be able to find this graphic later. I could share it with you guys on Facebook later. But what I need you to understand is that every person is welcome. Every person is loved. It does not matter if you are living a life in survival, driven by a lot of ego and fear, or if you are the most conscious being, wouldn't hurt a fly. Everyone is loved and everyone is welcome. And in fact, in this universe, we need every single one. We need the soulpreneur as much as we need, the people that are picking up your trash. In fact, sometimes I think that we see that there's a difference between us. There is no difference between us. They are us. And they want to be treated like we want to be treated. So the way you treat others, the way you treat animals and those who can do nothing for you is an expression of your consciousness. So I want you to know that everyone here is welcome. I don't care where you are, what you do, or what you've done. You have a soul inside of you. We've all made mistakes. We've all done crazy things. And we are here because we want to grow and learn and be better. So in fact, the concept, when you look at the lower levels of consciousness, the concept of judgment is out the window, doesn't exist. In the unified field, everything and everyone is one. It goes from someone, somewhere, something, someplace, sometime, to no one, no thing, to everyone, everything, every time, everywhere. We are all one. So you're all loved and you're all welcomed. What I do invite you to do, though, is to understand the 4 major components of the 8 levels of consciousness, to understand where you are and to set a goal for where you want to be. Because the lower 3, which is correlating exactly with the lower 3 chakras as well, which is basic trust, sacral chakra, and solar plexus chakra. The lower 3 here is egocentric levels of consciousness. Okay, so it goes from basic trust, survival, and instinct-driven to tribal order to power God. When you understand this, and I'll give you, like I said, I'll give you the graphics later. When you understand, I might put them on the screen, actually. I'll see if I can share it with you now. But when you understand the 8 levels of consciousness, you can understand where you are, and then you can set a goal to where you want to go. Listen, one of the most powerful things that I've ever learned in my whole life is a question. And the question is, how would love respond? Now, I know that when you're threatened and you get emotional, the last thing you want to do is say, I love you, take me. I want you to actually know that it's okay to be an emotional creature. I certainly am. But when you set conscious, and they laugh at me. I'm emotional. But when you set goals that are specifically aligned with raising your vibration, raising your consciousness, the byproduct becomes an incredible life. So why not? And I'll tell you what, when you go from ego-driven to ethno-driven, you're starting to look a bit more outside. Now it's not just you. Now it's actually you and your community. So it's egocentric, bottom 3, ethnocentric, 2 more. Then you get into what's called world-centric. You'll see at this 4th level here, you are getting into the heart. So this level we're starting to neutralize. Then we go from someone, somewhere to no one, nowhere. And then we elevate our consciousness up to everyone, everywhere, every time, every place, and so on and so forth. And when you look at this, you'll see you go from ego to ethno, okay? And then you go from world-centric to spirit-centric. I don't care where you are, it doesn't matter where you are, but you need to look at these, and I'll share this with you, and you need to be open and honest with yourself as to where you are in the levels of consciousness. Where are you now? Are you perhaps a 4? Okay, the order and the absolute, where the heart starts to open. Are you a striver, driver, achiever? I was a striver, driver, achiever for a very long time. And a striver, driver, achiever simply means that you are in the business grinding, doing your thing. If you have a look at the screen, I'll share this with you quickly, and you can enjoy it for a minute before we... let's see if I can get it up here for you. There we are. Before we actually send it to you and you do the work. But when you look at the ascending awareness, what you'll see is that there are different levels where you are right now, but there's also levels where you drop to. Let's see if this thing opens for us. There we go. A little bit slow today, mate. So these are the levels of consciousness. From the bottom, like I said, survival, instinct-driven, all the way to the top. And listen, the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention is because when you're looking at these ones, let's say that you now are where I used to be for years, which is the striver, driver, achiever, grinding, the primary needs of certainty, significance, and growth. You will have a set of behaviors and traits that will be activated when you're pushed outside of your comfort zone and you are in fear. So let's say you live at striver, driver, achiever, and someone jumps at you on the street or does something really challenging for you, you will drop to a different level of consciousness. So then your animal mind will come out. At the bottom of the chakras and at the bottom of this ascending awareness map, you will drop into your animal nature when you're threatened. You will heighten and towards an awakened soul when you're living a life with an open heart and a life that's aligned to your highest value. So firstly, one, identify where you are and then ask the question, where do I drop to? Do I drop from 5 to 3 when I get really angry, when I get upset when something happens? Where do I drop to? And this is probably the most important, and I'll take this off the screen. If you haven't done a screenshot already, I'll give you another 10 seconds. What I'll say is this, not just where are you and where do you drop to, but when you're threatened and something really challenging happens, I want you to ask yourself, how would love respond? And I want you to ask yourself, if you are a striver, driver, achiever, and you drop to power God, then I want you to go up one level to socially conscious, or even up one more level to integrated flex flow. And then I want you to ask the question, and this is so powerful, I want you to ask the question, how would a person with this level of consciousness solve this challenge? Because this, my friend, is life. Stress and challenge and all the things are a part of life. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. It's about centering yourself every single day and knowing and feeling in your heart that you are guided, that you are on purpose, that everything happens for a reason, and that when you go through this, thank you, it doesn't matter, there's no labels because we're all one, we're all loved. What I need you to know is where you are, where you drop to when you're threatened, and I want you to set goals. Now, please make a note of this. I want you to write all of your goals in your vision board based on where you want to be. Does that make sense? Because if I'm raising my level of consciousness, and something that's come up for me is that, you know, the whole tall puppy, which is a huge thing in Australia, it's called Hjalmby in Norway as well. It's just, don't talk too much about yourself and don't do this. I've tooted my own horn for so many years, and that's the feedback I've gotten from so many colleagues and staff and, you know, so on and so forth, is, you know, you promote yourself a lot. And I'm like, I do. I definitely come across as quite ego-driven. So, and I feel that I'm not. I really feel that I'm sincere and from the heart. And I do believe that, I hope that you've got something from this so far. Otherwise, you probably would have been on the call. But I truly do believe that the work that I do is shifting people's consciousness and helping them live more fulfilled lives. So I don't have too much of a fear of getting my message out. I have a little bit of fear of not getting my message out. And I don't think that's a problem. But one thing that I'm working on is to become more humble, to remain more humble, because I'm now not thinking about myself or not just my family. We've got a little 8-week-old, excuse me, but I'm thinking about what's best for the world, what's best for the people around me, and how would love respond, and what can I do to raise the consciousness of all of these people? Because once, like I said, I will be leaving this earth, and then I want to be able to put my hands on my heart and say, yes, I lived life to the fullest. I made a big difference. So set goals that are consciously helping you raise your level of awareness, your level of consciousness. And you'll see that the byproduct of that just rips your heart right open and shows you to the world for the beautiful, beautiful being that you are. And I think that when we're living a life that's congruent to our values and living a life where we're giving, you know, to people and helping their life get better, we're just going to ascend our awareness anyway. It's just a natural evolution. So set goals congruently. The final one that I go through now is called creating your vision board. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to show you in too much detail, but I will show you my vision board. So what I do is every single day, that's a lie, the intention is every single day I do this, but it probably happens more like 3-4 times a week. where I meditate every morning and every night. That is the best way I can tap into the unified field. That is who I am. That is the best way I can arrive. That is the best way I can come home. And then I read my vision board and I say my affirmations and my statements. And if you've heard about the law of attraction and affirmations and that sort of stuff, it's powerful. It works. But it only works if you place the right intention with the right energy and the right emotion into the quantum field in the right way, and you feel it. You need to listen to your emotions. Do not, and this is huge, do not set goals in the 8 areas of life just based on what you think you want, because the thought and the mind is the ego. I want you to also set goals based on what you feel will make you feel alive and love and all those things. So set it on or what's happening in the mind, but also set your goals based on your emotion and your intuition. Women, intuition, you guys are way ahead. Your pineal's open, you're present, you're aware. Set goals based on what you want and also using your intuition. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to write down each of the 8 areas of life. If you haven't already, I know most of you would have done a screenshot of this. So you have the different 8 areas of life. You have the understanding of how to do it now, from the fundamental philosophy to the basics of how it works, to the understanding of the core values, to the different areas of life. Can you see what I'm doing? We're building it up from the foundation to the understanding of how to raise our conscious awareness. And now we are going to create a vision board, which becomes our map. It becomes our GPS. If you're sailing from one point to another and you're going from one point to another, from where you are, listen, if you're going now from where you are to where you want to go, it requires time. Okay? That's how we measure time. It's one point to the other and the time it takes to get there. That's in the 4th dimension. You can bypass time. You can bypass the human senses and the human experience. You don't have to grind. You don't have to grind to get your goals. You can feel your way and tap into the quantum and manifest it into your life. And you've heard of the people that do this all the time. It's possible. That's why I want to really shed all these layers for you. So write down the different 8 areas of life. Okay, so you have financial. I'm sure I won't go through this for too long. I'll go through it quickly. You got financial, you have time, you have relationships. Okay, you've done a screenshot of this. If not, like I said, you can get it afterwards. So you have financial, time, relationships, career, okay, which is also vocation, which I also add to that, purpose, because, well, why the fuck, excuse me, would you live a life doing a job just above broke where you're not passionate, you're not fulfilled, you're not making a difference, it's not aligned to your highest value? And I get it. Sometimes we have to do it because we've got to pay the bills. But let me tell you, if you live a life based on the quantum model, then stop doing that right now, because you don't need to do that anymore. You can tap into it. Sometimes it requires hard work and requires having faith. But if it is the true path for you, your universe will deliver exactly what you need, my friend. Not always in the right time, but always the right thing. Career, vocation, purpose. Find your purpose. My coaching is to create a life pioneered by purpose. Mind, emotional state. You have to rate yourself and you have to be honest. You know, where am I? With my mind and emotional state, the quality of your life is the quality of your most prominent and dominant thoughts and emotions. The quality of your life is the quality of your most prominent and dominant thoughts and emotions. So the way you think, the way you feel is the quality of your life. That's it. And the way you think and the way you feel is creating that pattern in the field. So you keep drawing it back in. You keep creating, your body becomes a subconscious and you keep pulling it back in, pulling it back in. Why the fuck is this still happening to me? Because you still think the same way, because you still feel the same way, because you do the same habits, because the body's listening, even though the brain's asleep, because you've been so conditioned. So be honest with yourself. Where are you actually? Personal development. How much personal development did you do last year? How much did you push yourself? Rebecca and I just came back from the bridge experience with Alexi and Preston, and we're still going through some emotional waves because we had so many freaking breakthroughs. How much are you pushing yourself and pushing your spouse, keeping each other accountable, pushing outside the comfort zone to step up and be better? If you don't, you either grow or you die. And the only way to cruise, my friend, is, as I say, downhill. So you might as well decide on how much personal development you're going to do. And that doesn't have to be all expensive. It can be some really grounded, beautiful spiritual work. Which brings me to spiritual fulfillment. How spiritually fulfilled are you right now? Do you feel separated from everyone and everything? Are you focused on yourself? Are you in survival? Do you feel somewhat connected? Do you start to really feel connected and you see everything and everyone around you as you? How fulfilled are you? How happy are you right now? And you know, some people, they just surf all day or play guitar. And when they play guitar or surf, they just become one with the guitar, one with the wave. We all have something like that. Don't know what it is, but when you find it, everything opens. So how spiritually fulfilled are you right now, my friend? Be honest. Physical health, where are you right now? And obviously, and that's the last one, and then we're into finances again. So you're going to write down where you are. Yes, you're going to set goals in each of these areas based on how to raise your conscious awareness. Now, when you do that, and also based on your highest value. Now, when you do that, I just use Google. I just use this as a Google document. And I have here, it says on the top, it says, a life pioneered by purpose. And this is my favorite question. You might want to write this question down. What if the top was actually the bottom of my potential? You might want to write that down. And I want you to feel that. What if the top was actually the bottom of my potential? What could you achieve? And when you were young, when you were a kid, you set goals like, oh, I'm going to be a fireman, and I'm going to be, I don't know what you said. I wanted to be a fireman. I wanted to be a copper. I wanted to travel. I wanted to be a rocket scientist. I wanted to be a martial arts ninja. That one came true. But I wanted to be all these things. And if you imagine, it's real. So don't hold yourself back. What if the top is actually the bottom of your potential for 2019? That's why we're here. Get your shit out of the way. I love you. I see so many people living life with quite desperation. They start coaching with me and I just slap it right out of them. I say, if you're ready to step up, you need to do the work. And when that conditioning leaves the body and clarity sets in and the heart opens, you can't go back. So I want you to set goals in each of the 8 areas of life. And like I said, minimum 2 goals. If you look at this now, I'll have dot points here for my goals. Okay, in each of the 8 areas of life. Now you can use pictures. Some people are visual, okay? So this is for all of you visual people out there. Some people are auditory. You can hear what I'm saying. So obviously there's audio going on. And some people are kinesthetic. They need to feel it. Whatever your best learning style is, I'd like you to really use that on your vision board. So for me, this automatically, so I use Google. On my Google Calendar, I've got everything. I've got my 168 hours by design built into my calendar. That's all the time, including me time, yoga, all the things that I use to be me. When I do that, I use a vision board and it pops up on my Google Chrome every morning. So when I open up my browser after I meditated and done my gratitude journal, please, if you think your life sucked or could have been better, or there were some really, it was, tough times, I understand we are still, even though we're spiritual creatures, we still live in a human experience. I understand it's tough, but I want you to understand that there is no room for suffering in a heart filled with gratitude. So gratitude and feeling good, feeling grateful, feeling happy, believe me, it's not always the case, but in absolute most of us, gratitude is a muscle that is not exercised. If you want to become good in any of these areas, don't you need to work on your relationship? Don't you need to work on having more time? Don't you need to work on your finances? Don't you need to work on your health? It does require time, energy, and finance in very often. But if you're stinking thinking and not thinking thanking, you're not exercising your gratitude muscle. You're not exercising your gratitude muscle. If you want to have more things to be grateful for, be grateful for what you got. And that is every morning, every night after your meditation, 3 things you're grateful for. Feel it in your heart. I'm going to be recording a new morning chakra prime session. So every morning it'll be a 10-minute ritual of Kapalabhati breathing with going through the power centers to really power up every one of the chakras, raise our conscious awareness, and then actually set our intentions for what we want to achieve and be grateful. I'll send you, I'll have a meditation ready. If you come to my event, Quantum Living, you'll get the meditation, you'll get the printouts, you'll get the whole lot, and I'll guide you through how you can transform your life in doing this. But if you're not grateful, if you're, like I said, if you think stinking, thinking, and not thinking and thanking, start exercising your freaking gratitude muscle, because it's called neuroplasticity. There is actually something like learning an instrument and learning a language. The more you practice it, the better you get. The more you practice and cultivate gratitude, the more you get. And gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. Cultivate your muscle, your gratitude muscle. 2 in each of the areas of life. This pops up automatically after I've done my work in the morning. Sorry, I go on tangents. You'll hear me go, let's talk about Google Chrome, and then I'm gone. It happens. I say it's not always happening to me, it's happening through me. I apologize, but then I know because it needed to come out. What I want you to do, or what I do, is I actually write this out in a Google form. I have everything in Google. It's very handy. You can have it on all devices. It pops up automatically. Your Google Calendar is there, which is your stepping stones to what all the little steps that you take towards these ones. And what happens is when I actually have this thing and I open up my browser, this is the first thing that pops up. So you can set Google to automatically pop up pages. So you save this as a bookmark, it pops up automatically. So guess what? Before I check my email, before I get into the grind, before I do any of these things that try to steal away my present time conscious moment, I read my vision board and I feel my vision board. So here is Physical Health Australian Ninja Warrior finalist with a full backstory shown in 2018. Yes, got it. It's doing the splits, sustainable handstands, obstacle courses, being the best, most fun, loving father and entrepreneur in the world. Loving, fun, heartfelt, passionate relationship with Rebecca. Close, crazy friends, time for me, freedom, delegate all work but speaking, traveling, yoga, meditation, coaching, leadership, business development, and so on. Financial goals, spiritual fulfillment, live in alignment with my highest value. I remind myself of this every single day. Contribution-based work, meditate 5 times a week. Personal development, complete the bridge experience. You took that sucker off, can't I? I did that last weekend. Right? So, and then you have all these things and you look at it and then you ask yourself the question, is my calendar moving me in the right direction? And you can change your calendar all the time, and it's very important not to overschedule because most of us we have too many things in here. It's funny, I went to a yoga class 4 weeks ago, and one of my favorite yoga teachers, Mark Togney here in the Gold Coast, said, simplify your life, for it occupies space in the mind. And I thought, shit, the more things we have, the more things will occupy space in our mind. And sometimes the most happy, fulfilled people are the people that have less things. So I went home and I sold my Tesla. And, and I was like, shit, I'm going to simplify the crap out of it. And then I've sold lots of other things since then. And now we're going to, we've cancelled the lease on the Gold Coast. We're going to move to Bali and kickstart the speaking career. So I don't know what it is for you, but take massive action. And when you set your goals, try not to accumulate more things. Try and accumulate more experiences, more memories, more love, more connection, more of whatever you think is fun. Okay? And that includes your exercise has to be fun, functional movement. And then set your goals. Fun, you like that one? Functional movement. And you're a movement guy. Yeah. Functional movement. Has to be fun. If it's not fun, then what the shit are we doing it for? And I've been grinding for so many years, I'm over it. But then I'm also open to the challenges when they do arise, as long as they're leading me to the right path. So there you have it. I hope this has been really helpful for you. I want you to know I love you so much. There are spaces open. I'll share some stuff for if you want to join us. The events are coming up. Like I said, there's an event coming up next weekend here on the Gold Coast called Transcending Limitations. It's $50 and you get everything in the 4 hours. But the big one I want you to keep an eye out for is quantum living. This is all about how to create this, how to live, how to shed layers and step into our greatness. We've done one session, 60 minutes on the vision board. There's a lot more to it, including how to raise your vibration and your health to the same level. So I hope this has been really helpful. We have 2 options for coaching. One is VIP coaching. You do need to apply for that. I don't take too many clients because I work on you one-on-one, work with you one-on-one, and really what we do together is, what you're going through, I'm going through. So you need to be fully ready, and it's not cheap. It's a tough process to have one-on-one coaching because it leaves no stone unturned, but it is very powerful to get you that way real quick. But there's also another program, which is the program that you're on now. For those of you who have VIPs, I see some of my coaching clients here, some of the people, Mitch is in the house, Madeline's in the house. Yeah, lots of people here. Adam's in the house. Obviously, these guys we're on the call every week. We're doing the coaching. It's $97 a month, which is $3.23 a day. So it's a coffee a day. If you're having a coffee, if you're having 2, cut 1 coffee, jump on the call, and let us push you. let us be with you and help you grow and learn, because like I said, my mission is to help more people help people. And I truly do believe that if you're still on this call, you're a leader, and not just a leader in your own life, but perhaps also a leader in someone else's life. If you have children, leading by example is one way of doing that. So any questions, fire away. There you have your vision board. What I'm going to be asking is this. For the last 60 seconds, pay close attention. In the beginning, I asked you to do one thing, and that is to promise yourself, can you remember? I asked you to promise yourself one thing, that you were going to take action on something. And that's the difference. I said the difference between living a life of quiet desperation and a life of abundance and fulfillment is taking massive action. So you've heard it in theory. You probably felt something that went, oh, shit, I got to make a note of that. Whatever it is, exercise your gratitude muscle, whatever it is, I need you to take action. Can you promise me that? You put your hand on your heart. Okay, you put both your hands on your heart, and you did that before, and you gave yourself the promise that you're going to take action. I promise you that this would not become shelf development. I said this is transformational shit. This is to get you out of the way to create a magnificent year. So don't be that person that listened in and thought it was kind of cool and then did nothing about it. Transform your life by taking action. If you find reasons why not to complete this vision board, it's probably your ego pushing you away because it's freaking terrified that you're going to become even more conscious, even more alive, even more loved, and even more on purpose. So put your hands on your heart and take action. Share this with someone, make a difference, get a coach, and just keep living your life to the fullest. But promise me, my friend, that you will take action. And then what we have will create a huge ripple effect in this world, raising the consciousness and making a difference. Because all change happens within. If you want to change the world, look inwards, go in here first. And today you've done the groundwork, you've got yourself prepared, and you've got yourself ready. So welcome to the first year of living in the quantum, to probably the first year of creating conscious awareness around what you want to achieve and who you want to become. And thank you for being a part of our family. Hope to see you on the coaching program. Hope to see you in the live event. Stay tuned on Facebook. For you guys on Facebook, I freaking love you, and share this with your friends. Any questions, let us know. From all of me, to all of you, love you very much. Until next time. Yeah, namaste.